how did this film come about? And why on earth, halfway through, were you talking to your co-star Beth Davis and saying, I'm thinking of quitting acting?
I had been working in LA for a while. I did Catch Me If You Can. Nothing really came of it, but the truth was I was just not happy kind of in the life that I was leading and sort of this pursuit of a career that I didn't think was going to be a good fit maybe, and that's why, so I was getting really close on things, but I just figured, well, maybe I just don't have it, and that's got to be okay with me, and maybe I'll just go back to theater. And I booked this television show called Dr. Vegas. And I did the pilot, and that's how I ended up with red hair.
Right.
Because there was another girl hired who actually is one of my really good friends now, a very sexy blonde at the time, and I went, this is not good, because we have a really tall blonde and a really short, sort of pale blonde, and they were like, one of you has to go red, and I was like, I'm guessing it's me, just a hunch. But anyway, I mean, I don't know, I just couldn't find my home, figuratively, literally, I was just sort of floundering, and then Dr. Vegas changed my schedule, and they sent me home from Las Vegas, and I was really bummed, because I was like, oh, I was going to have a week off in Las Vegas, but when I got home, there was a script called Junebug on my doorstep, and I went and auditioned for it, and it was like that. I loved Ashley. I still love Ashley. It's funny I feel like you carry characters around with you. And I still watch that, and it feels like, I feel egotistical, like that sometimes I want to cry, and I'm not crying at my performance. It's like I feel her still. Oh, it sounds crazy, but I still feel what she was feeling.
You said we think she's naive, but then she isn't.
Yeah.
And that she has this very positive view of the world. Are those things true of you?
In the truth of who I am, yeah, I think so. I think that's sort of who I want to be. I think as you go through life, that gets kind of chinked out of you a little bit.
Yeah.
I think watching my daughter has been really interesting.
It can come back, though.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, because it's like, who were we born as? What's our core self? And then who we're shaped to be, given our circumstances, whatever those are.
But it's interesting, because you can go through those phases where you lose that optimism.
Sure.
But then it comes back. And
yeah.
I'm just speaking personally,
Yeah.
And it's great when it does,
It's true. Yeah, and my loss of optimism didn't have anything to do with me not working. It more had to do with, like, the guy swearing at me on the street in LA, you know what I mean? Like, you're, like, crossing against the light because you don't understand, and he's, like,
oh, wow.
calling you names, and you're like, why are you so mean? I'm just from Colorado, I just moved here, I don't know. So you just end up, I'm sure you guys have been there. You're like, what? Why are people
they're the ones doing the swearing.
You're swearing. Now.
Steven Spielberg expected that you'd break out after Catch Me If You Can. Were you disappointed when you didn't?
Yeah, I was. In retrospect, it's a good thing I didn't. I definitely was not ready to, I wasn't confident enough in my work, in myself. I still didn't feel like I belonged here, whatever here Hollywood is.
Do you now feel that you belong in?
No. I'm now just okay with it.
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody does, because really it's not a destination. Like, Hollywood's a city. It's actual a city. There's a zip code. It's like, but it's this idea, and I guess it just depends on what works for you, what you can buy into. And I believe I belong in Los Angeles. I have a really great family here, but I still feel like the idea of Hollywood is something that makes me feel very vulnerable. I've just learned to accept it. Yeah.
Why vulnerable?
Because I tend to try to be as honest a person as possible, and so therefore I feel a little more open to scrutiny and criticism. And as an actor, I think it's important to have a very soft heart and a very thick skin. So I just don't want my heart to harden, and so you have to allow yourself to feel those things that criticism and disappointment and all of those things that can impact you. Just
Do
make you
you think
human.
it's harder for a woman?
In Hollywood, just in general, yes. No, in
yeah.
general, I don't think Hollywood is a special place where it's hard for women. I think that, we have a lot of privileges. We have a long way to go, of course, but, when I look at what's happening in the world, I'm not going to cry because of some, small injustice I feel here about things. I definitely, work to change it and try to be a good role model, but I think I have it in perspective as far as sort of a worldview of how far we need to come as women and the rights that we should be fighting for.